In previous work, we have created some conditions in on-screen takeoff. In this case, I show the foundation work, GB1, and also the pile, the auger cast piles, 14-inch cast pile. They are both in the same color, so it's very hard to see from this screen which one is which. So on-screen takeoff has a feature where you can open the conditions property, then click on color, and then change that color to a different one. So now these pile cast, they are yellow, and they will show a lot better against the blue color of the foundation. That's one way to differentiate the elements in one condition versus another one. But sometimes you do want to work and not having all of these elements bothering you while you're doing a different takeoff. For example, if we were to estimate the size of the slab that goes on top of the foundation wall, then we will have a little bit of a hard time because we already have two conditions over here, and we'll need to do a takeoff on top of this. So one way that we can get rid of that problem is by using layers, similar to the layers that we would use in AutoCAD. So we'll first start by going into the windows. We have the pan window, which is a small window on the top, layers window, conditions window, status bar, and view window, second window. So these are additional windows that we can open. I'm going to click on layers window. So that's going to add this window on the bottom that says layer. So you can see right now layer has three layers in there. One is called image, the other one is called annotation, the other one is called default. So let's see what this works for. I'm going to create a annotation here. I'm going to measure this distance like we will do when we are trying to make sure that the scale is correct. So I have created an annotation here just to show what the annotation layer does. This is a dimension that I'm taking just to compare the scale with the one on the drawing. So in the layer image, we have the basic drawing, the basic image that we have in this project. So if I unselect the show box in the layer image, the background image for this drawing will disappear. I can click show again and it will come up. I click on and off, and I can turn on and off that layer that contains the image for the project. I have here a dimension that I created before to verify the scale. That is saved in the annotation layer. So if I unselect the annotation layer, that dimension that I've created can be turned on and off. And then finally, the layer default is the layer where we have all the conditions in. So if I unselect that, all the conditions will turn on or all the conditions will turn off. So if I want to selectively turn on and off conditions by layer, I will have to create a new layer. Very similar to the use of conditions, this blue plus sign will create a new layer. So I'm going to click here, new layer, and I'm going to call that layer hide. Okay, so I create this layer hide, and I am going to unselect the check mark for show. That means that anything that goes into the layer hide will not be shown on the drawing. So now that I have that layer set up, I can go into one of the conditions here and then change the layer from default to hide. So I just click hide, select, and then apply. Notice how the condition completely disappeared from the screen. However, the takeoff remains there. We can see the GB1 has still 1000 linear feet in the takeoff, but it does not show on the screen. If for whatever reason you want to create a layer for a specific condition, you can also do so. I'm going to create here a new layer. I can call these piles, for example, and then unselect the show check mark, so that piles layer will not be shown on the screen. And then these cast piles, I will change the default to piles. Select, apply, and now that those piles will disappear from the screen. This gives me an additional control because I could turn on the piles, or I could turn on the entire height layer, and now I have individual control of these two. Usually the way that I prefer to work is to have one height layer, and then as I work I will move my conditions into that height level layer, so everything will be clean. I have a white sheet to work on, and I can add new conditions and then move them to that layer as I need to.